everyone. Good afternoon. We are just going to wait a couple of minutes to let everybody join us. I think this is I hate to jinx things, but typically we've run into some technical issues right at the beginning. But I think this time, so far, so good.
Well, now that you said that,
I have faith.
Get some testing. I think we should be good to go. We've got several different speakers and
Yeah.
Stuart's from Rowe Price. Stuart, where are you calling from today?
I am outside of Baltimore, Maryland.
Very good.
What's the weather like there today?
A little bit of sunshine for the first time in probably a week and a half.
Oh, yeah.
So, not too bad.
Yeah. I understand the feeling.
It's close. That's all right.
Yeah. We got a flood warning today.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's never good.
No. Give just a couple more minutes for people to pop in. Hi to everyone who's joined so far.
Yeah. So we've got Steven's in the background. Steven, are you there? You can say hi too.
I am here. I am the disembodied voice on this webinar.
I think, Lauren, go ahead and get everybody's on, get started, and then we'll get people caught up if we get some stragglers coming in.
Okay. Hi, everyone, again. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so happy to have you at Kennedy Financial Group. It's our goal to act as a guide on your financial journey and help you pursue your goals and what is most important to you. And one way that we do this is through timely education that helps make the complex simple. And these webinars are one way that we're really excited to help do that and share some really great information with you. As Brandon said, we're really excited to have Stuart Ritter here from Rowe Price. He's going to share some information later on. And we're also really excited about the diverse group that we have joining us today. We have everyone from current clients to people who are just learning about the firm to participants in some of the small business retirement plans that we oversee. And I just wanted to say thank you again for joining us and welcome. Now to get us started, this is some information that we always have to share. If you have any questions about these disclaimers, you can reach out to us by phone or email, but just something we have to kind of throw out there. And to kind of give us a rundown on what is going on today, we have Brandon and wealth advisor Steven who are going to share some information about our firm. And whether you are new to us or you've been with us for a while, this is some really good information about why we do what we do and how we do what we do. And then, like I said, Stuart's going to share the main topic of the day, which is visualized retirement, which is going to be really great. I know that we're all really excited about this presentation and all that you're going to be sharing with us, Stuart. And then we will answer some audience questions. So if you have questions at any point during the webinar today, you can text us at 248-528-0485, and we will answer those right at the end. We're really excited. I think that this is going to be some great information for everyone. So to kick things off, again, I'd like to welcome Kennedy Financial Group owner and wealth advisor Brandon Kennedy and wealth advisor Steven Fronrath. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, I always hate when they show my picture, and I swear that's a different shirt than the one on there. I'm almost, if you can ask any other team, I have blue or white dress shirts, maybe with some checks, and black polos.
Hey, it's okay. I didn't wear the same checkered blue and white shirt today, so we're good. We passed that test.
Yeah. So as Lauren said, thanks for kind of bringing us on. And today we're going to spend just a few minutes. We're really excited. We actually have gone through some rebranding and some updated messaging that we just want to share. And since it's a pretty diverse group, just to kind of rehash who we are, you'll see this start right there. Guiding wealth with purpose is kind of our overarching theme of what we do as advisors. It's not about how complex the products are and how in-depth our process is. That's really our goal, is to be guides on everybody's financial journey that we work with. Our main office is in Troy. We're, you can see Lauren is working remotely. She's actually out of Louisville. We've gotten really good at communicating digitally, but main office is in Troy. We've been here since I started Kennedy Financial about 13 years ago. Founded in 2008. What a great time to start a financial firm in the middle of the financial crisis, but we persevered through that. We've grown. We're an independent wealth management firm. We have an affiliation with LPL Financial, who is actually the largest independent broker-dealer in the country. But we take that scale and that scope of LPL and bring it to a very personal level with our local office and the relationships that we have. Also really proud to be Dave Ramsey SmartVestors. It's a program that we've been part of for about 7 years. Internally as a firm, we're all big fans of Dave Ramsey and their philosophies and just the general concept of living below your means and being intentional with your money. And that's something that's important to us. A lot of our clients have come from that program or are big fans of Dave as well. So that's kind of just a recap of who we are. Our firm has grown a ton over the last few years and will continue to, and really with the goal of serving clients. Steven's going to talk a little bit about kind of our team right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Steven is still there.
I'm here, yes. So, no, kind of as Brandon said, Brandon founded Kennedy Financial Group about 13 years ago here. So our team, we really take a team approach here at Kennedy Financial Group. We really value the personal relationships that we have with our clients. Brandon is the owner and he's one of the wealth advisors here at Kennedy Financial. Brandon started in the industry in the early 2000s at kind of a bigger bank. I believe it was Wachovia, then transitioned to Wells Fargo. And, he really saw the value of having an independent practice. And that's really what led him to found Kennedy Financial Group. I've known Brandon personally for about 7 years now. And I've been with the team for about 3 years now here. And, this is really something that we all love to do. And why we get out of bed every single morning is it's just the most amazing thing to help our clients win with their money and make smart financial decisions with their money. And that's really what motivates us to do what we do. We're also joined on our team by Nicole Barg and Lauren Kukawinski. Nicole is our director of operations. She's been with the team a little about 2 years now, I think. November of 2018, she joined our team. But Nicole really makes this place run. She handles all the logistics with paperwork. She's the one, if you have to make any changes to your accounts, she helps with that. So she really keeps things running there. And Lauren, who's our director of client experience, who is on the call here, Lauren makes sure that if you're a client of Kennedy Financial Group or if you interact with us in any way at all, she makes sure that you have the best possible experience. And she is amazing at that. Lauren actually was an original member of the team here. I don't know how long ago was that, Lauren, that you joined us at first.
2014.
Yeah, so Lauren was a member of our team in 2014. Her husband ended up moving out for a job, so she unfortunately had to leave us back in 2018, and then she rejoined us again through all the COVID craziness. We got really good at working remotely, and Lauren is actually joining us from Louisville. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did. Louisville. Yeah.
Exactly. So, we really do take a team approach here, and we love acting as a guide for our clients, and again, we always do it in a team fashion.
All right, thanks, Steven. Culture and that team striving for a common vision is really what we're all about, and taking this personal approach, not only internally as a team, but outwardly to our clients. And we went through this branding and messaging to kind of uncover and flesh out all of these things that were in our head. And we heard from clients over time, why do they choose to work with us? And we got it down to kind of 3 main areas. And our why, our purpose, why we get up in the morning, why we're excited and passionate about what we do with every single client, is our purpose. And that purpose is we exist to help people live their best and most fulfilling financial life. And that means a lot to us. It's not about how many accounts that we have and how many assets that we manage. And we we help over 300 families, and that every one of those is a win for us, right? Helping a family and helping them put some goals down in place and some next steps to reach those goals. And then if we do that, and why families engage with us is the underlying problem out there, why people don't live their best and most fulfilling financial life, is because there's just a lot of noise in the financial community, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of complexities that can cause people to just either overanalyze or not have good systems and procedures in place to be on the right path. And really it's our mission, like I said before, is to act as a guide on your financial journey. And everyone's financial journey is a little bit different. So we have a process that we help uncover what's important to you and what next steps should you take. And really in the end, what we're trying to do is to help you, strive to achieve what's most important to you. And we go through this process of uncovering what are your priorities, what's important to you. And it's an ongoing process where we kind of assess what's going on. We act as a guide and give you your plan, and then we re-engage and talk through this. And those that are doing that and taking those next steps really our goal. And if we put our purpose and our why and our vision into place, really what we'd like to see and what we believe is there's a future where people are inspired to reimagine a purpose for their money, that they can change their family tree, redefine stewardship, impact the world. And that's what money is, right? It's so much more beyond how much do we have in our 401ks or how much can we accumulate. Money's just a tool. It's a big Dave Ramsey thing, right? It's not good or bad. Money's the root of all evil is not really the true quote. It's the love of money, from the Bible. And really money can do some pretty amazing things. And having a plan and a process behind that is what we strive for every single day, to engage clients and to help them uncover what does money mean to them. And that's really what we do day in and day out of what we, as we interact with clients. So as part of that process, what we did is this is our kind of overarching theme, but we also uncovered some things that really we don't compromise on. And these are things that we do internally, and also what a lot of our clients stand for. And these are our core values. And Steven's going to talk about those.
Yeah, no, as Brandon said, we've been doing had a lot of discussions over the past couple of months to just clarify what we do, why we do it, and how do we help those that we help. And some of those core values that we have is to listen deeply, to make the complex simple, acting with intention, for us to have a servant's heart, and to live generously. And those are the core values that, they stand the test of time, and they are true things that we try and embody every single day here at Kennedy Financial. For one example, make the complex simple. Unfortunately, our industry, I think we try to make things more complicated than they actually need to be. And that's our job is, we firmly believe that your finances, they don't need to be complicated to be effective. And our job is to help you put together a simple, plain English explanation of what your next steps are and put a plan in place to help you win with money. And again, it doesn't need to be complicated to be effective.
No, good stuff. I think one that stands out for me as we went through these, and it was hard to narrow them down, but live generously is, I'll tell you, one of the biggest joys that I have in acting as a financial planner or wealth advisor is when I get a call from a client who, is almost nervous sometimes, where they say, well, hey, I want to do something that I've never even thought if I could. And I want to write a check to a charity or give to some cause. And this check's going to have more zeros than I've ever written a check on. And it's just a really empowering thing to have clients have something more than just how much money can I take each month or how much can I accumulate. Money serves a bigger purpose than that. And just having those conversations, being able to go through the process and model out that, hey, this works and you can still live comfortably in retirement, still do the things you want to do, but you can make a bigger impact in this world. And that's a big core value of what's important to us. So I'm going to kind of wind things down a little bit as we sort of go through before we transition over to Stuart, and really just to sum up all of that why we do what we do, what our purpose and our cause is. And the main clients that we work with are individuals and families. Those that are really motivated and engaged to make a difference in their financial life. So it's not about did we outperform the index or how are we doing performance wise. It's more planning. Let's help you live your best financial life. we work with a lot of small business owners, and I'm a small business owner, right? We're a small firm, so I understand those struggles. And those we resonate really well with the owners of businesses that really want their employees to get financial peace, to have financial wellness education. We have some amazing tools through Dave Ramsey. We work on a lot of their small business retirement plans to engage with those clients. And then certainly pre and post retirees, those people who have most of their money in their 401k and are coming up into this transition. How am I going to collect income, not run out of money, but then start to build a legacy, for the money that I'm going to pass on? Those are kind of the three core areas of people that we work with in different capacities. And basically what we do for individuals, it's portfolio management. Certainly that's part of it. Wealth plans, helping them come up with where are you now, where would you like to be down the road. Reducing taxes. Nobody likes to give money to the IRS. We try to minimize that and maximize giving that to, in our own purpose or giving it to charities, right? Same deductions versus giving the money to a bank. We can be smart about our tax reduction strategies. Income and distribution, that's the big one for retirees. Let's make sure that you have a date-specific, dollar-specific plan for retirement. You're not going to run out. And then for business, like I talked about, financial wellness education. We work on a lot of small business retirement plans to help, make sure that they have a good, solid plan in place and good education as part of that. And then succession and exit planning, which we, again, have done personally and are in the weeds of that, and can help businesses on that front as well. So that was kind of the portion of what we wanted to cover today. Thanks, Steven, for sharing. I know we did a lot of work on the branding and messaging over the past couple of months, and very proud and will continue to share some of those updates and changes to the firm as we grow, with really a core goal of serving clients, helping them live their best financial life. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Lauren, if you want to transition over, get us off the screen and bring on Stuart, who we're most excited to listen to today.
Yeah. I think when you break down all of those things, our mission, our vision, our purpose, it's really easy to see why all of us at Kennedy Financial Group really love what we do. And, we really value the opportunity to impact the lives of our clients and help them reach their goals. And, speaking of goals, retirement is one that we talk about a lot at Kennedy Financial Group. And to kind of help things transition, I have a quick poll that I want to share with everybody. You can respond. Steven will get that popped up for us here pretty quickly. But do you plan to work in retirement? So yes, consulting or starting a new business if you're planning on just doing like a new venture, maybe something part-time to stay busy, or no way, it's time for golf and grandkids. So share those with us. And while you guys are answering, I just want to take a second and also just say you should have received a workbook via email that you can follow along with during as Stuart is very, I love your Vanna White impression there, Stuart. A workbook that you can use to follow along with. Now, if you didn't download it from the email, that's okay, because that will be in the handout section and you can download it there and follow along with us. But to get things started, I want to introduce Stuart Ritter. He is a retirement insights leader at Rowe Price, and we are so excited to have you, Stuart. How are you doing today?
I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. I know we're really excited to see this presentation, and I just want to hand it over to you.
Thank you, and thank all of you for taking time out of your day and answering the poll, which is always fascinating to me what people's expectations of retirement are. I mean, the old definition of retirement was someone worked full-time on Friday and then never worked again on Monday. And now, when you look at the breakdown, there are more people saying yes or maybe than there are saying no way. So people have different ideas of what retirement's going to be about. And that's what this presentation is going to cover. It's moving beyond just the financial aspects. Now, you've got to have that financial foundation in place. That's the kind of thing Brandon and crew helps with, because putting a vision together without the ability to achieve it is just setting people up for disappointed expectations. So once you've got that financial aspect on track, spending some time thinking about the non-financial side of retirement is important. And then that feeds back into the financial so that you understand how the two complement each other. So what I'd like to do with the time we have today is take you through a bit of an exercise so that you have the opportunity to start building out your own vision. And I recognize we have people in a wide variety of areas on the spectrum, from those of you who are probably still early in your career to those of you who've been retired for a little while. Now, what you all have in common is you're not done yet. There's still something out there in the future, and spending some time thinking about what you want that future to be. And I'm going to walk you through 5 areas that help you think about different aspects of that future, can make you feel more confident that what you're doing today, both from a non-financial and a financial standpoint, is going to get you where you want to go because you've spent more time thinking about where you want to go. Now, this is important because when we talk to pre-retirees and what they think about in terms of retirement, 3 out of 4 people think about the money, which makes sense. Am I saving enough? Do I have enough? What does my spending look like? All of those kinds of things. But only 1 out of 3 have spent any time thinking about the emotional aspects of retirement. And let me tell you a story about somebody where this made a huge impact on their lives. We do a lot of research to put these kinds of presentations together, and we set up a focus group of recent retirees. So these are folks who had only been retired a couple of years. So they're all filing into the focus group room. I'm in the back with the M&Ms, which is never a good idea. And the moderator starts the session simply by asking people to give their name and just a quick description of what their experience has been with retirement. And about the second gentleman in used a term I had never heard anybody use before when it came to retirement. He said, "I failed retirement." How do you fail retirement? And he said that he had done the typical thing. You've got enough money. You can retire. You did it. And the gentleman said, "So I did. I went in the next day and said, I'm done." And then I was home the next week. And at first I was bored. And then I was uneasy. And then I started bickering with my spouse. And then I started getting miserable. I really didn't like it. I failed retirement. Now, the part he was referring to was not what his 401k looked like or what his withdrawal rate was or when he started Social Security. What he was referring to was the emotional aspect. What he was referring to was the fact that he had not put together a vision for his retirement. He didn't know who he was or what he was going to do. And that's what this program is designed to accomplish. It's to help people work with their spouse or partner if there's someone else that is involved in establishing their vision, thinking about what they're going to do, what's going to happen with their health, what is their purpose in retirement. And to help people get there, we created the 5 W's of your retirement vision. So those of you who are journalism majors might be familiar with this. 5, who, what, where, when, and why. So what I'm going to do with the rest of the time that we have is I'm going to take you through these 5 different W's using our handy dandy workbook. Now, we're not going to have time that I would normally take if we were doing this one-on-one to give you time to really think through each of these. I just want to give you an idea of how they work, and we'll spend a little bit of time for you to fill a few out so you get a sense of how to build this vision. And the outcome of this exercise, whether you're early in your career or even partway through retirement, is it will help you build out what that future looks like, what you want the emotional side to be. And that then allows you to have a conversation with the Kennedy Financial Group and say, okay, this is what I'm building towards. What can I do today to help me get there? Because again, you've got to have that financial foundation in place in order to be able to make that vision come to life. So let's start with who. And again, whether you're early in your career or already in retirement, the first question we have here, and the reason we set it up this way, is because adult learning theory tells us that as grown-ups, we incorporate new information by comparing it to information we already know. So the information we already know is, who do you spend time with today. So your first question on the workbook is, who do you spend the most time with today? Go ahead and rank that. All right, as I said, I'm going to be pushing you through this a little bit faster than I normally would. So feel free when we're done with this session to spend a little more time with the workbook. And then for the full experience, reach out to Brandon, Steven, and crew, and they'll help you with it. So you've thought about who you spend time with today. Who do you think you'll spend the most time with in retirement or later in retirement? What will change on that list? Take a look. All right, I'm going to expect that there are some differences. And that starts helping you clarify what kinds of things might change as you move to and through retirement. And that gives you a sense from the first W of how your interactions and social relationships can evolve when you get through retirement. All right, the next question we have on here is addressing one of the number one concerns people have, and that's healthcare. So the question is, who will be on your wellness support team in retirement? If you have a health event happen, who's available and might be willing to support you with that? And the companion question, whose wellness support team do you anticipate being on? Many folks still have aging parents or other family members that they're going to be supporting, and that will likely be part of who they're spending time with in retirement. All right, the last question, and we have this question in all 5 of the W's. What are your next steps? What can you do today to transition, to build that bridge from who you spend time with today to who you want to spend time with in the future? What kinds of things can you do to strengthen relationships with the people you will ultimately want to spend more time with? Jot a couple of things down. All right, let's move on to what? The activities you're going to engage in retirement. And this is what people think about. And when I look at the poll about what you want to do in retirement, the 2 G's, golf and grandkids, those always come up when I do this in person. The other big one is travel. So this is getting at the evolution of how you spend your time. Now, when we ask other folks, 70% want to travel. That's a big one. 57% want to spend more time with family and friends. No word from the family and friends whether they want to spend more time with the retiree. That's something you might want to consider. Couple of other things here. My favorite stat is 30% want to work. And when we look at the results of the poll, yeah, that's part of it. There are people who have moved beyond that old definition of retirement and see working as something that they want to do, in addition to pursuing hobbies. So, same approach. We start with what you're doing now. So there, we are now on the second page of the workbook. How do you spend your time now? Fill it out, rank order. All right, take more time later on if you need it. But now I want you to spend a little bit of time thinking about how you plan to spend your time in retirement or later in retirement. What would be different in the future? All right. Next question has to do with the kinds of things that will help you do what you want to do in retirement. What are the activities that will help you have a vibrant retirement? Bunch of choices here, so take a couple of seconds, look them over, check off the ones that make sense for you. And as I promised, the end of every section, what steps can you take today to help make that vision a reality? For example, if you put down that you want to be involved in the community and volunteer your time, what kinds of things can you be doing today to establish those connections to make it easier when you get to retirement? It's really hard to show up somewhere and say, okay, I'm ready to volunteer 20, 30 hours a week. It's a whole lot easier to start earlier on and say, I'm ready to give 1 or 2 hours, learn if you actually enjoy doing it, and then ramping up later on. So what steps could you take today to help with whatever you put down for your what? All right. W number 3, where? The places you will live and visit in retirement. So let me tell you the results of a research study that recently came out that looked at what people do when it comes to where they live in retirement. People fell into really 3 main groups. The first group was folks who stayed in the house that they lived in when they got to retirement. Essentially, whatever house they were in when they were 50, they lived in that house all through retirement until retirement ended. The second group of people moved one time around retirement. So this is your stereotypical group that says, okay, wherever I am, I'm moving to a retirement destination, some other place that I've wanted to live to. Florida, Arizona, you know what the typical ones are. So that's the second group. And the third group actually moved around a lot. It wasn't just a one-time move. They moved a number of times. So the first thing you can think about is, which group do I think I'm going to be in? Am I going to stay in the house I'm in now? Am I going to move one time? Or might I be the person who moves a couple of times? So think about that. And as you're thinking about that, let's look at the factors that were important to you in deciding where to live in retirement. So this is under the where section in the workbook. Take a minute to look at those and consider which ones affect where you want to live in retirement. All right, next question deals with your home itself. As you think about what may change in terms of your ability to get around, what characteristics are important to you for the actual place that you live in? And what steps can you take today? If you think you might move, maybe it's doing research on that area or planning to have an extended vacation so you can experience Florida or Arizona in the summertime and see what that's like, or Wisconsin in the winter. Whatever it may be, what steps could you take to check it out? All right, W number 4, and this is the one that I think doesn't get the attention it deserves. Your timeline for starting retirement. Very often if we ask somebody, when are you going to retire? It's an age or it's a dollar amount, and they think they're done. But the reality is this can get a lot more complicated. So if, as the results of the poll show, almost 3 out of 4 people have work as part of their vision of retirement, what does retirement really mean then? When are they retired? Is it, I move from full-time to part-time? Do I take some time off where I don't work at all and then I go back part-time? Is volunteering really work? So that's not really retired. And what if there's a spouse or significant other involved? How are we going to synchronize our timing? And what's their vision of when they want to retire. So this is something that might take a little more thought than initially expected. So when would you like to retire? Start with those basic drivers, the dollar amount and or the age, put those down. And then most importantly, think about what's driving your timing. Why is it you picked the when that you picked? Because if we understand what our motivations are, as things change, as we consider the rest of our vision, as we talk about what our financial situation is, as we have conversations with our significant other, we can hold on to what's important to us, even if some of those things move. So if my spouse wants to work 3 more years than I do, okay, well, what is it? I've always wanted to try doing something else. Maybe I'll do that thing part-time while my spouse is still working for the additional 3 years. And that's how we're going to synchronize our when. Which brings us to the steps you can take today. What can you do today to make sure you're on track for the when? Both from a financial standpoint, are you saving the right amount? Are you using the most tax-advantaged accounts? Are you investing properly? All of those kinds of steps, as well as the steps of, are there things I can be doing to synchronize the when and understand what's right for me? The last one, why? What is your sense of purpose in retirement? Brandon and Steven talked at the beginning of this presentation, the why for their firm, because it's important to understand what that core value is. What's the driver? And for a lot of us, before we retire, it's external kinds of things that bring that in, our work, our family. Once we retire and we're no longer working and the family has maybe left the house, what's going to replace that? What is going to get you out of bed in the morning? So think about right now, what provides you with the most fulfillment and meaning in your life today? And then what's going to do that in retirement? Hopefully the answer to the first question gives you some insight as to what your personal drivers are. And then you can start thinking about how to keep those intact with maybe different activities when you get to retirement. So what are those? All right. What steps can you take today to build that bridge and make sure the things that are important to you and are drivers for you today and provide you with meaning will continue in retirement? All right, that was a very structured way to get at a vision of retirement. We gave you 5 W's. Hopefully that clears up some of the unknown of what you need to be thinking about, gave you some prompts to delve into each of those areas. But let me go to the other side of your brain. Let's take a look at this through a different lens. Let me just kind of open it up and allow you to be a little more creative. Imagine there's a book about your retirement. What is the title of that book? And what does that book's dust jacket say? If you're looking in your workbook, we've got a similar set of questions on the back here. So it's asking you just generally to think about your retirement, not only the title, but what's the description? What do you want people to say about your retirement? Or what do you want to convey to them about your retirement? Let me summarize. And if you have any questions, please feel free to share those. We've left some time at the end here to take them. There are 5 W's of your retirement vision: who, what, where, when, and why. And to the extent that you spend time thinking about those, building out your vision, what we found is it lowers the anxiety some people have about what the future in retirement looks like and increases their confidence that they're going to be putting a plan together that allows them to be confident and be happier in retirement. Your next steps are pretty simple. There's 3. One is ongoing. Continue to refine your vision. The things we think about 3-5 years hence, well, there are a lot of outside factors that can affect how that turns out. So you're constantly going to be wanting to revisit this and think about what's changed about you and about the external environment that might change what your vision is. Communicate. Talk with your spouse, with your family, with your friends. Let them know what you're thinking about. Ask them for input. Ask people who have already been retired. What was it like? What worked? What didn't? And that allows you to work with your support team. Family, spouse, medical folks, legal folks, financial folks. There are a lot of elements to your retirement. Putting the vision together gives you more clarity as to where you might want some help to make sure the things that you want to have happen in retirement, golf, grandkids, travel, whatever it may be, that the resources are in place to allow that to occur. Now, as was started at the beginning, we have legal disclosure put in as well. But now that you've seen that, I want to thank you for the time and the opportunity to share the Visualized Retirement Program with you. I encourage you to spend more time with the workbook. Spend some time thinking through what your answers to those questions might be. And if there's a spouse or significant other, ask them for their answers. And then reach out to people like Kennedy Financial Group and say, this is what I'm going for. This is what my vision is. Let's talk about how to make that a reality. So if you have any questions about the program or about how to make it real for yourself, we've left some time at the end here. Feel free to text them in and you guys can toss them my way.
Yes, thank you so much, Stuart. That was really great. I think that everybody can see why we were so excited about today's presentation. I think that that was some really, really helpful information. So thank you so much again. And as I said earlier, retirement is a goal that comes up a lot at Kennedy Financial Group. We have a lot of conversations, and I think that really taking the time to think about not only why you're saving, but what exactly you're saving for can be such a motivating factor. So thank you so much. And as Stuart said, if you have any questions, please feel free to text them into us at 248-528-0485. And as those continue to come in, I've got some that came in during the presentation that I want to share with you guys. So both Brandon and Stuart, so they wrote, let's say we have a couple whose priorities in retirement are a bit different. Do you have any advice on how to navigate that?
That sounds interesting. I'd like to know what makes them. I'll tell you, I've been doing this 19 years, Stuart. I don't know how long you've been in the industry, but very, very little shocks me anymore. So I would love the challenge of hearing what's different. But really, this is, I think, gets at, for me, as a planner and working, side by side with clients, we're a guide along the way, and you're telling us where you want to go, and we're using our resources and our partnerships and our experience to help you navigate that journey that you want to go on. So, it's one of those very little surprises me. Everybody's journey is a little bit different, but that is our role. That is what we do, and we help you make the best choices along the way.
I think they mean where the spouses aren't agreeing with each other.
I'll let Stuart answer that because that.
Let me ask my wife how I'm supposed to answer. That's one way to resolve. No. First of all, let me reassure you that is really, really common. I mean, think about it. I'm joking, but you should see what happens in my household when we decide we're going to go out for dinner. Okay, where do you want to go? I mean, that's a 30-minute discussion right there, right? So something as big as what is retirement going to look like? That's pretty huge. So it's actually more common that two people are not on the same page than they actually are. And therefore, it means doing the same kinds of things you've done for figuring out where you're going out for dinner and all the other important life decisions that you've made. It's an ongoing conversation. I remember working with a couple once, and the guy had just retired. He put in his paperwork on Friday. This is a Sunday morning, and we're talking. He says, and this is all going to work because my wife's working full time for the next 5 years. And she stuck her head in the room and said, oh, no, I'm not. I never agreed to that. Okay. So they worked it out. So he went back to work part-time for a few years so that she didn't have to work the full 5 years and feel that financial pressure on her. So to Brandon's point about having a guide to help you think through that, and what are some alternatives that if you're not on the same page, what are the important pieces you want to hold on to, and how can you merge that together so you'll be able to be going towards the same vision. So not uncommon that you're not at the same starting point, but you can get there. Hopefully the Visualized Retirement Program will help, and having conversations with experts can move you further along as well.
Yeah, we would love to have a conversation with anybody about what their goals are and how we can reach those goals, and maybe some good ways to compromise. So next question, they wrote, as someone who is already retired, I feel like I'm examining some of these questions late in the game. Any advice for switching gears and pivoting?
Yeah, you've got more opportunity to change in retirement. You're not stuck. You're making your own path at that point. So yeah, spend some time answering these questions and start deciding what's important to you. I've heard from a number of retired people. One of the things they regret is that early on they said yes to everything and realized that other people were dictating to them what their vision was going to be. And this is an opportunity, even if you're in retirement, to sit back, self-reflect a little bit, think about what you want to do. And then that next step, part of it is, okay, how do I stop doing some of the things that aren't as important to me and start pivoting towards the things that are? So having that clarity by going through the process, and then again, having conversations with people who can talk to you about ways to do that, can make that transition easier. And that transition happens at any age.
Yeah, I think just to follow up on that, a word that we use a lot in our planning process is course correction. And that's normal, doesn't shock us. Sometimes we have one plan and 6 months later we turn that 180 degrees and make a huge pivot in what clients want to do. And that's the fun part of if you plan properly, you can do those things. It doesn't have to be set in stone from day one, and it shouldn't be, right? Life's going to change. Yep. If 2020 hasn't taught us that life's going to change and you should be able to adapt, then you're not going to learn that lesson. So it's okay to do that. It's okay to do that and encouraged. Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of 2020, we got a question that said, planning for anything right now seems daunting due to COVID-19. Can you share some tips for visualizing retirement when the future is so cloudy?
Who was it? Yogi Berra said, it's really hard to predict what's going to make predictions, especially about the future. We don't actually know. And part of that is why flexibility built into both our non-financial and our financial lives is so important. So one of the things that's helpful about having a financial plan, about knowing why you've made the financial decisions you have, is when things change, not if, when they change, you know where you are, you have the resources, and that provides you with the flexibility to change as circumstances dictate. So it's always hard for us to envision it. I love how we're talking about, envisioning life after COVID-19. Well, back this time last year, nobody was envisioning life with COVID-19. So as you said, things change, they change fast, and sometimes people underestimate their own resiliency. So recognize that we're good as human beings at adapting to new things. So take some comfort from that. And then again, if you've got financial resources in place, very often that reduces the anxiety associated with what's going on, because at least that aspect has a plan associated with it and can make you more comfortable in trying to figure out and adapt to whatever comes down the road next.
Yeah, no, I think long-term focus is always what we try to strive for, and then you have to react and make some tough decisions in the short term. But this is, I'm not a doctor and I don't have all the answers on what's going to happen, but we have to think and have the mindset that we're planning for long term. We're going to get to something more normalized. Maybe normal is slightly different, but that's part of the long-term focus and being adaptable, making some course corrections in the very short term. I know lots of travel plans were canceled, but people made the most of it. They went up north. They did some different things that they might not have done, and so I've had a lot of clients find that they enjoyed those things and didn't need to go on the big vacations or cruises. So sometimes you can take a negative and spin it as a positive as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So one last question. Can you give an example of how my vision could affect the ways that I save/spend in retirement?
Sure. One of the things I talked about is the where. Where are you going to live in retirement? And the number one expense at all age groups, from people in their 20s to people 75 plus, and this is according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is housing. So your vision for housing in retirement is going to have the biggest impact on what your spending and expenses are in retirement. Are you staying in the same house? And maybe it's a bigger house than you need, quote unquote, but you're already there, you know the neighborhood, it's important to you, you don't have any transaction costs of selling the house and buying a new one. On the other hand, if you're in the group that says, I'm moving for retirement, I'm going to sell the bigger place, I'm buying a smaller place, you've got the one-time transaction cost, but maybe it's a cheaper place. Those kinds of decisions have an influence on the financial plan. Wouldn't you agree, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, no question. That's the be flexible with what you're going to try to do and where you're going to go. But I think that is from a specific planning item that I talk about this a lot. Not having every single dollar that you have in qualified pre-tax money, because that's an example of proper planning, putting money in different types of accounts that are accessible with less of a tax impact. Because if you want to take a big lump sum and you want to go buy a second property, you don't necessarily want to jump tax brackets. So that's proper planning, putting in the right places for flexibility and how you might use them. Even if you don't know the answers to all of those right now, is something that you definitely want to talk through. What might retirement look like, even if that's not for sure your plan now.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Stuart, for joining us. This is really great information. We so appreciate having you here. And thank you to Steven and Brandon. Thank you to everyone tuning in as well. We were so excited about the turnout. And remember, you can always find replays of these webinars, previous months, and this webinar on our website and our Facebook page. And if you have any questions, please always feel free to reach out to Kennedy Financial Group at team@kennedyfg.com or 248-528-0485. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you again so much.
Thanks, everyone.